Now we're going to talk a little bit about naming binary compounds, and we've done this just a little bit already, but remember that the metal is the same as the name of the element. Always, always first, you guys. So the metal is always first. The non-metal then is going to end in IDE, and always comes second. Okay, so here we have sodium fluoride ends in the IDE, and then sodium sulfide ends in the IDE. So sodium stays the name of the metal. Stock system, it's basically the same thing. We're just going to have a Roman numeral in there that's going to show the charge on the metal. So here, if copper has a 2 charge, okay, we know that because each bromine has a -1 charge. So if there's 2 bromines, -1 and -1 gives us -2. So copper has to be a +2. So that's where that number is going to come from. So we're just going to write copper, Roman numeral 2, and then bromide again ends in that IDE just like it does with everything else. So the only difference there is we're adding, for a transition metal, we're adding a Roman numeral. Polyatomic ions, again, remember you guys, these are covalent compounds that have a charge with them. These are 3 different examples. They just have a common name. You'll have your chart to look those up. These can be bonded with a metal, okay? So a lot of polyatomic ions contain oxygen. There's some examples here, oxyanions, because they've got a negative charge. Again, these will all be on your chart, so you can just look those up. I do not expect you to memorize those. So when we name these, again, the cation is going to be the name of the element, and then the name of the polyatomic ion comes right after that. Sometimes a polyatomic ion is going to be surrounded by parentheses. So in this case here, the sulfate is in parentheses because there's 2 of that. That means there's 2 of this whole thing. Okay, so here each sulfate has a -2 charge. There's 2 of them because of this number 2 right here, that subscript number. So that tells us we have -4 charge for our sulfate. So 10 here has to have a +4 charge, so that's where the Roman numeral comes from. So it's tin for sulfate. And again, sulfate you would just look up on your chart to know what that name is. So again, you're naming it basically exactly the same way as you name ionic. You're just writing down the name of the polyatomic ion instead of writing down the name of a nonmetal.